right, we're live. Good morning. This is In the Circle, the first ever Division II live reaction show. The selections will be announced at 10 a.m. Eastern. And Victor, the very first question that just popped into my head as somebody who was up since 6 in the morning, filling out, trying to do brackets, is why the heck are we doing? Why are the Division II selection shows at 10 a.m. Eastern?
I wish I had a valid answer for you, sir, but I got nothing. I got nothing.
All right,
so that's Eric Lopez. I'm Victor Anderson. In case you didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, ladies and
hasn't
gentlemen,
kicked in yet.
By the way, there's a reason why we're going on at 9:30 because we are going to be hearing as we get ready for the selection show at the top of the hour who the regional 1 seeds will be. If you follow us in the circle as B, we shared our thoughts on who we think will be the top 8 seeds. And it is not, and by the way, we got confirmation in the West. It will be Steph Ewing and Cal State San Marcos. The Cougars, the regular season champions from the CCAA, got bounced out in the conference semifinal by the host Cal State Monterey Bay. So our congratulations to the Cougars getting a 1 seed in the West region. So that's the first 1 seed to go down. And for full disclosure, the 8 1 seeds that I had Cal State San Marcos in the West. I have Texas Tyler in the South Central. I had Anderson, no relation. In the Southeast, I have Auburn Montgomery, who won the Gulf South regular season and tournament championships in the South. I have Kutztown in the East. I have in the Midwest, I have U of Indy. And then in the Central, I have Rogers State. So as Eric gets them on the website, I'll explain my reasoning behind that, and then we can really go in depth on terms of who will get in. And looks like it just got confirmed. Anderson is the 1 seed in the Southeast region. Now, this is in spite of the fact that they did not advance to the conference championship in the South Atlantic region, but they had a strong enough resume, being number 1 in the last regional rankings on Wednesday to get them the 1 seed in the Southeast. So, hey, so far we're 2 for 2, Mr. Lopez.
All right, so explain right now what's unveiling as we speak.
Yeah, so right now they're announcing the 1 seeds in each of the 8 regions. If those of you just joining us, Cal State San Marcos is the 1 seed in the West. Anderson, South Carolina, the regular season South Atlantic champions, they are the 1 seed in the Southeast. They're going to release the other 6 regionals very shortly. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll really get into, and Eric will pepper me about questions about what regions he's looking at and what will be happening going to Selection Sunday. And by the way, at the end of our selection show, we will announce a conference championship coach who will be appearing on our episode on Thursday. So stay tuned for that. I'll be very, very excited to see who that coach will be. But what questions, Eric, do you have for me as we await the releasing of the next 1 seed in the D2 tournament?
Well, I think the question is, what are some of the things you're looking forward to seeing here unveil that you're curious about?
The biggest thing one of the big things for me, it's going to be the South Central. Texas Tyler, who's been number 1 for the majority of the season, lost in the conference final to Texas A&M Commerce. Does Texas A&M Commerce possibly jump to a 3 fringe shot at a 2 with Lubbock Christian? It's going to be fascinating to see how that shakes itself out. I think Commerce at least is going to be a 3, the 3 seed in the South Central. The question is, did they do enough? Did they get enough wins in that brutal Lone Star Conference tournament, which half of the conference tournaments were impacted by weather in some capacity this weekend? The CACC, they didn't even get a chance to play their conference championship game, which meant Georgia and Court, who was the 1 seed, were awarded the tournament championship and thus the automatic bid. Somebody could get impacted for losing hosting rights because of that. I'll talk about that very shortly in the selection show, which will be starting, again, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time. The selection.
We gotta move this up. It's a boy. Like, we gotta come out. We can't do this a little later in the day. People gotta be
like 12 noon. Think about it. The selection show is gonna be at 7 a.m. out in California and in Washington. So a lot of the student athletes are who usually don't wake up around this time of day. They're gonna have to wake up and find out what's going on, and then go on with their day.
Like now the regionals begin Thursday, so that's partly due to the reason of that. That and then obviously the World Series, the championship will be played May 26th through the 31st at the Regency Athletics Complex in Denver.
Yes,
Colorado there. So that's a little different change there. So it's going to be interesting. As obviously we'll hopefully have some more number one seeds here announced here shortly. And I know you're monitoring that situation. And the selection show will begin at 10 a.m. Eastern, and we'll react live to each pick.
Yes.
There. What are some of the more interesting bubble questions you're curious about?
Well, it's going to be in the East because Cal U, by the way, Texas Tyler, no surprise, the number one team in the nation, number one seed in the South Central region. No real surprise there. So we're 3-for-3. The East, Cal U, they went 0-2 in the PSAC tournament, and Fairmont State won the Mountain East. So with those two things happening, and then the Claflin winning the CIAA championship, Fairmont State will likely be the 7. Claflin will likely be the 8. I got the Vulcans out in the East. They were already in a precarious position as that 8 seed, knowing full well you're going to have that CIAA champion likely being the 8 seed anyway, getting the automatic bid. And the Vulcans going 0-2 in the conference tournament, I don't like their chances of making it in the East region. I really don't. Not the Atlantic region, excuse me. But I don't like their chances making it in. Going 0-2 in a conference tournament is not ideal in any situation, especially if you're in that 6, 7, 8 range, trying to maintain your position, trying to get into the tournament.
All right, for those who are just joining, there are 1 seeds are being unveiled for each region. What do we have? What do we know so far?
Yes, Cal State San Marcos, they are the 1 seed in the West. Anderson, South Carolina, they are the 1 seed in the Southeast. Texas Tyler, the number 1 ranked team in the nation, they are the 1 seed in the South Central. So those are the 3
surprises there. Any surprises there? Oh, you just muted yourself there.
How did I mute myself?
Now you go. Now you're back. Whatever you did, and you're back on there. So, and no surprises there on the 1 seeds?
No surprises there, the 1 seeds. The one I'll be looking at is going to be the Central Regional, because you have Central Oklahoma, who was the number 1 seed. They lost their opening round game in the MIAA tournament and got bounced out in the semifinal. Meanwhile, Rogers State, who was the number 2 seed in the Central region, they won the conference tournament. They beat Washburn, who, by the way, a lot of people don't know this. Washburn was the 1 seed in the MIAA tournament with the regular season championship. So I think Rogers State could flip with Central Oklahoma, have Rogers State be the number 1, Central Oklahoma be the number 2. I think right now that's the only region I think could have the 1 get jumped by the 2. Everything else should be pretty status quo.
Status quo on that, as we should be getting the rest of them out here shortly.
Yep, the South region has been announced, and is the 2-time Gulf South champions Auburn Montgomery winning the Gulf South tournament over Alabama Huntsville. I got a lot of things to say about the South region, because Valdosta State did not do themselves any favors going 0-2 in the Gulf South tournament. They and Tampa were battling and jockeying to see who could be that 2 seed in the South behind Auburn Montgomery. Tampa took 2 out of 3 from Rollins, clinched to share the conference championship, the first since 2015, excuse me. And that, with Valdosta State going 0-2 barbecue, I think solidifies the Spartans as the 2 seed in the South. And I would not be surprised, Derek, when the selection show starts at 10 o'clock. Nova Southeastern could potentially jump Valdosta State as the 3 seed and put Valdosta State down to the 4. That is something that has to be on the table.
Wow.
Because if Valdosta State finishes the season on a tough stretch and then going 0-2 in the conference tournament, meanwhile, Nova Southeastern beat Rollins that Saturday game, which turned out to be a significant win because they swept Florida Southern, Tampa won the series versus Rollins, and as a result, Nova Southeastern shares the conference championship, but by virtue of sweeping the Spartans back in March, Nova Southeastern gets the automatic bid to the tournament. And with Tampa's win Saturday, I think solidifies Tampa as the 2 seed in the South.
Will this be the first time ever that the Sunshine State Conference has more teams ranked, more teams in the field than the Gulf South?
Right now, yes. I strongly say yes. The only thing that could have prevented that from happening was West Alabama. The Lions have made a strong push and could have been a bid thief in the Gulf South. If that had happened, Emory-Riddle, I felt, would have been the team on the outside looking in, because Alabama Huntsville would have moved up. West Alabama would have moved up to the 7th seed. And then the SIAC champion would have been the 8th seed, and Emory-Riddle would have been on the outside looking in. But because of West Alabama losing in the semifinal, I think Emory-Riddle will make it in. Now, they could drop to a 7. They could be the 7th seed, meaning they take on Tampa at Vince Naomi Family Stadium with the opening round of the South 2 regional tournament. But I think the Eagles and Kelsey Dunn make it in.
Eric Lopez here, Victor Anderson live show. We're going to be the first time of many live shows on this channel, YouTube channel. Sunday night will be the Division I selection show. Victor will be hosting that. Justin McLeod of X Rating Softball will be his co-host, special guest for that live show that'll be on starting at 6:30. We got breaking here. What do we got?
We got a stunner in the Midwest.
First surprise here. We got.
Yes, the Screagles of Southern Indiana, Sue Kunkel, thanks to winning the GLVC, they jumped to the 1 seed in the Midwest region. That's the first real stunner.
Where did you have them? Where did you have them?
I had Southern Indiana. I had them possibly as a 3. I had them as a 3.
Wow,
because the Midwest was so
jump.
bunched together. The Midwest is so bunched together. The fact that UIndy and Grand Valley State did not win their conference championships, Southern Indiana did make it an impressive run. That's the reason why they got the Screagles as the 1 seed. But I'll tell you what, when we see those Midwest regionals, you can make the case for 4 or 5 teams advancing from the Midwest to go to Denver. It's that close. That and the South Central could be the 2 most competitive regions that we see when we get the tournament field, which will be announced in about 17 minutes or so.
So let's stay with that. That's the first surprise of the 1 seeds there. What does that mean for the rest of the Midwest region? What could we be seeing here in a little bit?
Well, what that means is that either UIndy or Grand Valley State is going to be traveling to the other as 3. So you're having a potential super regional caliber matchup with the Greyhounds and the Lakers to advance to supers, not to advance to Denver. Coming into the week, U of Indy was 1, Grand Valley State was 2, Southern Indiana was 3. So with Southern Indiana winning their conference tournament, they jumped those 2 teams. And also in the Midwest, Saginaw Valley, they were 10th in the regional rankings. They win the tournament title. They are in. The question is it at Finley's expense? Or who I think it could be at the expense of, Northwood, who lost their opening round game in the conference tournament. So I think Saginaw Valley jumps in as the 8, and Northwood, by virtue of being one and done in the conference tournament, they could be out.
Well, that's a bit of a surprise. There's certainly more perhaps in store. We shall see. The selection show at the top of the hour on NCAA.com will be live as the picks are unveiled. The first of many live shows here. As I mentioned, I was talking Sunday night, 6:30. You're going to be on 6:30 Eastern.
6:30.
You and Justin McLeod will be live on this channel, getting set for the Division I selection show that'll be at 7:00 that night on ESPN2. I will be reporting from the UCF watch party, checking in from time to time there. We'll have some special guests there. We're going to have some special guests here, we hope, on this show, depending on how things unveil on this live show as well. And then we'll also have a lot of coverage on the podcast. By the way, if you check out the podcast, I believe came out this morning.
Yeah, it came out this morning, yes.
We literally, I've been up since 6. I think I stayed up till 6 a.m., took a 2-hour nap.
Yes.
We did kind of a breakdown of the conference tournaments in Division One, on all the scenarios that it take place. Gray Robertson, obviously from Out of the Box, helped talk to Vic previewing the SEC tournament. We broke down all the scenarios that could play out in Division One and some of the key storylines into the conference tournament weeks and regular season finales, like the Pac-12, for example. So check out the podcast for that.
You have another announcement. The East #1 seed Adelphi coming up playing the longest championship game in Northeast 10 Conference history. The Panthers are the 1 seed in the East. So we now know 6 of the 8 regional 1 seeds. So those who are just joining us, Cal State San Marcos in the West, Anderson in the Southeast, Texas Tyler in the South Central, Auburn Montgomery in the South, Southern Indiana, the big surprise in the Midwest, Adelphi in the East. So we are waiting for the Atlantic and the Central. The Central is the one that I think Rogers State can flip with Centra Oklahoma as that 1 seed, since Rogers State won the MIAA and Centra Oklahoma failed to make it to the conference final.
You reading anything into the order that this is coming out? Like, why are they? No,
it is what it is. Because you started with the West. I really don't make much out of it in terms of the order. Hey, you're gonna find out anyway. So I don't know.
Here we are. We're down to 2 regionals. We're still waiting on for the 1 seed. Do you believe that the reason those are the last 2 is because it's a challenge? Is it tougher, or is it just random?
That's random. It's random. It's interesting how they do it every year, because they don't do it by a particular. One year I remember the South was the first region announced as the 1 seed. Another year they announced the Atlantic region as the first 1 seed. So make with that what you will. Now, if there was a national tournament, which it should be, they should do it by the top 8 national seeds. But hey, what do we know? We're just dudes talking softball on a podcast, doing it live on YouTube.
All right. By the way, you can send your comments and questions to us as we're live on this.
Yes.
Had a question from a fan about Nazarene. What's their outlook?
Well, Northwest Nazarene actually made it in as the GNAC champion. I think they're going to be the 8th seed in the West. So they'll likely be the first round matchup for Cal State San Marcos in the West 1 regional. And also, Eric, something else to by the way, the Central region has been announced. I have been proven correct. Rogers State is the 1 seed in the Central regional. Them winning the MIAA Conference Championship, beating Washburn, plus Central Oklahoma failing to make the conference final. They lost that opening round game, so the Bronchos had to battle out of the losers bracket, couldn't do so. So Rogers State gets rewarded. I had a feeling that was going to happen. So Rogers State, the 1 seed in the Central, which means we had the Atlantic left to go. I feel confident in saying that Kutztown is going to be that 1 seed, but we will have to wait and see when that would be made official.
The other question, obviously, will the defending national champions and the runner-up make the tournament?
No. And that could be the first time ever, Eric, in Division II, that the 2 teams that played for the national championship the previous year have missed the NCAA tournament.
West Texas A&M and Biola.
Yes, West Texas A&M and Biola. And now, look, if you heard our D2 Tuesday last week, I outlined the path for West Texas A&M. Win their opening round game, which they did. Beat Texas Tyler in the quarterfinal, which they could not do. And at least get to the final. They lost to Texas Tyler in the quarterfinals, and I felt that might have been a final nail in the coffin for Michael Mook and his bunch. So there will not be a repeat national champion in Division II. And we're waiting to see who that final 1 seed will be again in the Atlantic region. I think Kutztown will likely be that team. We're just waiting to get confirmation about that. And so waiting for that. So again, for those of you just joining us, the 1 seeds, the Central is Rogers State, the East is Adelphi, the Midwest, Southern Indiana, South Central, Texas Tyler, the South is Auburn Montgomery, the Southeast is Anderson, and the West is Cal State San Marcos. We are awaiting the release of the 1 seed for the Atlantic region, which should be coming very shortly.
And again, the selection show will begin at 10 a.m. Eastern. It'll be shown on NCAA.com. We will be on live reacting as those picks are unveiled. Victor you're going to see his reaction live. That's priceless, folks. As somebody who has seen this for years on the phone, and when he has literally avoided the results when we've taped in years past, and just his reactions are always priceless. We'll see if there's surprises to him or not. And
I think it's nice, Eric, because I don't have a dog. I don't have a vested interest in it.
So let's get into that. You have been in this position, watch this show with teams in the past. Take me through right now. We're down to getting close to the top of the hour when the selection show starts. Take me through the emotions right now.
Oh, by the way, the final 1 seed has been released. It is Kutztown.
No surprise.
Kutztown is the 1 seed in the Atlantic. So if you see at the bottom of your screen, we will have the regional 1 seeds as we are talking right now. But going through that process, it's always been interesting, Eric, because I've always been working when the selection show has happened. So I'm kind of trying to be focused on my task at my regular 9 to 5, while at the same time trying to figure out, okay, where are we going to be, who we're playing, things of that nature. I feel, Eric, it feels necessary that we kind of go in depth, since we now have about 8 minutes before the selection show starts, to talk about that infamous year in 2013.
Oh boy, here we go.
So, full disclosure, ladies and gentlemen, for 8 years, I was the broadcast voice of Rollins softball. 2013, the Tars had a very interesting season, to say the least. Finished 44-8, 17-7 in the Sunshine State Conference. Rollins in the final regional rankings, they were 6th in the poll. They won 2 out of 3 versus Florida Southern. Swept their doubleheader senior day versus Fort Valley State, if I recall correctly. I was talking to Eric Sunday night, and I felt confident that we were going to make it into the tournament. The question would it be going to Alabama Huntsville, or would it be going to Valdosta, Georgia, to take on Valdosta State? So I am in my cubicle in the office. Naturally, the internet connection decided not to work on that day. So I decided to step out of the office to give Eric a call, let him know what's going on. And Eric, I vividly remember you telling me you're not giving me the news that we weren't in, and you heard at least a 10-second silence of me, and I'm saying, what?
That's correct. This is a true story. Yes.
Full true story, ladies and gentlemen. And needless to say, I was ticked off.
Yeah.
But that's put again. I'm being clean about this, folks. It's still it was still early morning.
Well, so that was, that's 9 years ago. What did you not know back then that you know now, having gone through many of these processes that maybe either caught you off guard or now prepared you for stuff like this? Because obviously you were caught off guard.
Well, my biggest problem is that the team that Rollins got jumped by was Barry. Now, keep in mind, Barry did beat Rollins 2 out of 3, and Barry did finish ahead of Rollins in the conference standings. But Rollins was ahead of Barry in the regional rankings prior to Selection Monday. Had Barry been in front of Rollins that whole time, then I wouldn't have had that much of a beef.
Are you saying they were gophered before it was trendy to be gophered?
Yes. We were gophered before being gophered was a national thing. If you don't know what being gophered means, we're referring to Minnesota somehow not the number 1 overall seed, not even a national seed. They were a 2 seed being sent to Alabama. And of course, the infamous opening by this gentleman right over here.
Yeah.
Go to our archives. The greatest opening in the circle of history.
It's true. We made a lot of money off of that, actually.
Yes, we did.
that's the story. Well, we'll see if we'll see if there's any surprises similar to that 9 years ago to this morning. We're about 4 minutes away. 4 minutes away.
Yes.
Any last minute thoughts, Victor? Who's the most nervous right now?
I'm going to break it down I'm going to go region by region. I'm going to kind of give a brief synopsis. I talked about the Atlantic. Cal U, I'm just forewarning you, if you're a fan of the Vulcans, don't get upset if you don't see your name in the regionals. You went 0-2 in the PSAC tournament. Fairmont State won the Mountain East, so they will get the 7. They got Claflin, who won the CIAA. They will be the 8. So I think Cal U will be on the outside looking in the Atlantic. So just want to forewarn you. You've been properly prepared for that. Caldwell, the fact that the CACC championship game got rained out means they didn't have a chance to take on Georgian Court, who was the 1 seed in the tournament. Had Caldwell played that game and beat Georgian Court, which had to beat them twice to do so, Caldwell could have flipped with Georgian Court and be the 2 seed in the East. But because of Mother Nature, I think Caldwell ends up being the 3 seed and will have to travel to Georgian Court in the East 2 regional. I highlighted the Midwest earlier. Southern Indiana, the surprise number 1 seed in the Midwest. Who gets the 2? Is it UIndy? Is it Grand Valley State?
And explain again for the audience that might be new why the big difference between the 2 seed and a 3 seed.
If you're a 2 seed, you get to host this. You get to host the regional. If you're the 3 seed, you travel to the 2 seed. So you can have a potential super regional worthy matchup of U of Indy and Grand Valley State meeting to get to the super regionals in the Midwest. And also, Saginaw Valley State, with them winning the GLVC crown, do they knock off Findlay or do they knock off Northwood? I think Northwood is going to be the odd team out because they went 1 and done in their conference tournament. Again, the GLVC, due to Mother Nature, had to go to a single elimination format. Northwood lost their opening game to Davenport. That could cost them a bid with Saginaw Valley winning the GLVC championship. Again, with the South Central region, it's a likely guarantee that West Texas A&M will not make the tournament. So that's going to be, that might be the first time ever that the 2 teams that played for the championship the previous year, which would be West Texas A&M and Biola, may miss the tournament the following season. That will be a first time ever. And we'll definitely see the rankings to get that confirmation there.
We're about a minute away from the selection show coming out. No, we're not on Good Morning America. No, I'm not Joe Buck, and he's not Troy Aikman.
No, we don't know who our sideline person would be either.
No, but apparently they'll be working doubleheader Monday Night Football down the fall. Here we go. We're getting set. Top of the hour, Division II selection show here on In the Circle, the first ever live reaction show in Division II softball history coverage, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to see unveilings here. Will be their surprises. Who will be the 2 seeds? Who gets in? Who gets out? Who gets shafted? All of this will be unveiled here momentarily on NCAA.com at 10 o'clock as we get set for a unique day here. And a lot of people's mornings are either going to be excelled or disappointed. It'll be better than coffee in some places. But we shall see now.
And depending on what happens, you may need something stronger.
That's true. Well, we all could. I definitely in the next week.
In moderation.
So we'll see now. We're waiting for the link. Of course, this is the way they do it at NCAA.com. It's it's a little archaic, Victor, which is obviously for that link, but it should be coming out here momentarily. And the link is up here.
And while we wait for the link, we do want to let you know that, again, depending on who gets in, we may have a couple of surprise guests sneaking into the show. So we'll definitely talk about that. And also, at the end of our stream, we are going to announce a conference championship coach who will be appearing on our Thursday episode. So,
all right, the selection show is beginning. And we promise we'll be a lot more entertaining than the NCAA show.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, folks, if those of you are wondering, we
with
are
respect to Will Haskett, who it's good to see Will Haskett and they're in the headquarters.
Yeah, we like Will. We like Will. By the way, we are going to have D2 Tuesday tomorrow, 2 p.m. I'll give you my thoughts on all of the regionals that take place, and I will make my official predictions on who will be making the trip to Denver for the Division II.
Wow, bold there, Denver, huh?
Yes. I'll make my predictions on D2 Tuesday tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern on our Inner Circle Twitter page. We will tweet out the link for that very shortly.
Right now, they're going over all the rules in place for the Division II, Victor. And here we go. The West region is going to be unveiled here first.
Here we go.
The West region, number 1, the top seed, Cal St. San Marcos, is the 1 seed at 40-11 on the year.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because a tremendous effort by Steph Ewing. We had her on the show previously. Kind of stumbled down the stretch, lost in the conference semifinal. Hoping they can kind of turn things around in the first time they'll ever be hosting a regional.
So they are the 1 seed in the West region. They will be taking on the 8 seed Northwest Nazarene. There was a question pre-show, Victor, about them. Here's where they end up as an 8.
Well, I'm not really surprised about that, Eric. They won the GNAC. It was them and State Barnes jockeying for position for that 8 seed, and I felt whoever won the GNAC tournament will make it to the tournament as the 8 seed. Congratulations to Northwest Nazarene. Second time they made the tournament. Second time they won the conference tournament. Third time in the last 4 years.
Sonoma State is the 4 seed. They will take on the 5 seed Cal State Monterey Bay. Sonoma State 40-16. Cal State Monterey Bay. They're the 4-5 matchup. Now to the West 2 region. Chico State, Victor, is the 3 seed at 36-15.
I figured Chico State would be the 3. They had to win. I felt they had to win the CCAA conference tournament to get to the 2 seed. They get bounced early on, which means they're going to have a matchup with Concordia Irvine should they advance in the winners bracket.
Chico State will take on Cal State Dominican Hills in the 3-6. And then you got Concordia as the 2 seed on the West 2, just like you said.
And I'm not surprised there. The fact that the Pac-West doesn't have a conference tournament benefited Concordia. They won the Pac-West championship out by Krista Rosendahl, coach of the year once again. And they'll have a chance to make it to the Super Reserve potential rematch with San Marcos, which the Cougars would host.
They're the 2 seed at 43-8. They will take on Azusa Pacific at 35-15, and that's the West region number 2. Any surprises so far in that West region real quick, as they're really quickly now moving to the Southeast?
No real surprises there. This officially confirms Biola will not make the tournament. So again, West Texas A&M Biola will likely be the first 2 national finalists to miss the tournament the following season to play for the title.
Southeast, Anderson, as we already know, is the number 1 seed in the Southeast.
Well, Anderson won the South Atlantic regular season championship, a tremendous year for the Trojans. Intriguing to see who they get as that 8 seed. A lot of movement in the bottom of the Southeast Regional.
Anderson 37-7 on the year, the 1 seed in the Southeast region, number 1. They'll take on Francis Marion who's 33-20. They're the 8 seed.
Well, Francis Marion, the fact that they were able to do as well as they did, in spite of being knocked out early at the conference tournament, I'm glad to see them sneak in.
King from Tennessee is 4 seed at 41-15. So King is the 4 seed in the Southeast region. They will be in Anderson, who's hosting this regional. And then King will be taking on the 5 seed as they unveil that here momentarily. While they do that, any no surprise with King at 4?
Well, I thought King would be at 4. They won a conference championship, so the fact they won a conference championship means that they moved up the spot in the regional rankings. Good for King. Good for them making the tournament.
They will be taking on Lincoln Memorial, the 5 seed at 35-18.
Well, Lincoln Memorial, they won the tournament championship of the SAC. So the rail splitters, as you look at the Southeast regional rankings, essentially Lincoln Memorial and King stayed the same spots because they both won the conference tournaments early. So King stays ahead of Lincoln Memorial. So the Southeast essentially stayed the same because of those regional rankings. It was Anderson, King, Lincoln Memorial, Francis Marion going to the conference tournament.
Lenoir Rhyme is the 2 seed in the Southeast region. So they get the 2 seed there. No, I don't think no surprise there by you there, right? They're 37-14.
I thought there was a chance North Georgia could have flipped with Lenore Ryan winning the Peach Belt, but I think Lenore Ryan had too strong of a resume to be jumped by North Georgia.
Lenore Ryan will take on Wingate, the 7th seed, who's 35-17 on the year. North Georgia, as you mentioned, Mike Davenport's team is the 3 seed at 41-14. So they got to go to Lenore Ryan, who will be hosting that part of the region. And North Georgia will take on Carson Newman at 35-16 as the 6th seed. Thoughts on the Southeast?
There was no movement in the Southeast region whatsoever. The top seeds held serve. So unless somebody like a Lander or a Queens had won their conference tournament, they would have cracked in the top 8 and made it to regionals. But now, no real surprises there.
We move to the South now. The South region. And Nova Southeastern is the 4 seed. Interesting as they get announced first in that region. They're the 4 seed, Victor, the Sunshine State Conference champions.
Well, I felt that they had a chance to jump to the 3 seed with Valdosta State, but so essentially this confirms Valdosta State will be the 3, likely traveling to Tampa, who will be the 2, I think.
Nova Southeastern will take on Alabama Huntsville, who's the 5 seed at 38-15.
Well, Alabama Huntsville made that deep run to the Gulf South Championship before losing to Auburn Montgomery. We talked about it off air, Eric. The possibility of the Chargers making that jump from the 7 spot to the 5 spot. So I think if we'll get confirmation when the regionals come out, Rollins drops to 6, Emory-Riddle drops to 7.
Auburn Montgomery is the top seed, 43-9. They will be hosting that part of the region. They'll be taking on Tuskegee, the 8 seed.
Tuskegee won the SIAC championship. The Golden Lions have made some noise in the South region. I was there in 2014 where they stunned Alabama Huntsville, that opening round game, and the Chargers had to battle back from the losers bracket to advance the Supers. I know I was there when they beat Rollins 2 straight on Sunday.
Tampa is the 2 seed in the South region. That is out. They will be hosting the South region number 2. They are the 2 seed in this field. They will take on Embry-Riddle. Kelsey Dunn's ball club at Embry-Riddle gets into the tournament as the 7th seed, and they'll be facing a familiar foe in Tampa.
Well,
and then Valdosta State is the 3 seed. Valdosta State is the 3 seed at 34-11 from the Gulf South. And then the final team in the South region to be unveiled is Rollins out of the Sunshine State Conference. Christine Roser, in her first year back in her alma mater as head coach, gets into the tournament. They will be taking on Valdosta State, and that region will be in Tampa.
I felt that that's going to be the region we would see. The question would be, would Nova Southeastern potentially jump Valdosta State? The committee felt Valdosta State had a stronger resume, but great job by Coach Roser Lefevers. Good job by Coach Kelsey Dunn. And how about Julie Lemaire taking Nova Southeastern? First Sunshine State Conference championship program history. First time they made the tournament since 2010.
They're now moving on to the South Central. UT Tyler is the 1 seed, which we already knew in the South Central region. They're the 1 seed. They'll take on Colorado Christian at the 8 seed, a 49-win Colorado Christian team. That's not an easy 8 seed at all, I think. Lubbock Christian is the 4 seed there at 37-10 with Lubbock Christian. And they will be taking on Angelo State at the 5 seed, 36-10.
I got a feeling that somebody's going to jump up as that 2 seed. Did Texas A&M Commerce winning the Lone Star Conference, did that do enough to jump them to the 2? We're about to find out.
Texas A&M Kingsville is the 3 seed at 43-9 in the South Central region, number 2. And they will be taking on the 6 seed. But so Kingsville is the 3 seed there. And they will be taking on the 6 seed as they await. I can't imagine if you're a bubble team here and you got to wait till the selection NCAA show here unveils the team. Sometimes they go super fast. Sometimes they take a little while to milk it a little bit. Oklahoma Christian is the 6 seed. They will be taking on Texas A&M Kingsville in the 3-6 in the South Central region. And Texas A&M Commerce is the 2 seed, Victor.
Yep, I had a feeling if they won the Lone Star Conference, they can make that jump from 5 to 2, and that's exactly what happened. Wow. Whenever you beat the number 1 team, in the region and in the nation, in their ballpark, you're gonna get the big benefit of the doubt.
Shows the strength of the Lone Star Conference and the power, right? You believe that's the best conference this year in Division II.
Yes.
So Texas A&M Commerce will host the 2 seed. They'll take on St. Mary's of Texas, the 7 seed at 34-17. Thoughts on the South Central real quick?
Well, I'm not surprised that Commerce jumped up to number 2, bumping down Lubbock Christian, Angelo State, and Kingsville. Now, that means, Eric, it is official for the first time in history that 2 teams that played for the national championship the previous year, West Texas A&M and Biola, will not make the tournament.
All right, they're taking a commercial break over there at NCAA.com, so it gets a chance for us to catch our breath there, Victor. Your thoughts so far on what we know here, what's been unveiled?
Well, right now, that South Central 2 region with Commerce, St. Mary's, Texas A&M, Kingsville, who, by the way, is the number 2 ranked team in the nation entering this past week, and Oklahoma Christian, you could have a scenario. We almost had this in 2011 when I first started broadcasting for Rollins. You could have a scenario, Eric, where the number 1 and number 2 ranked teams in the nation face each other to advance to Denver. In 2011, Alabama Huntsville was number 1. Rollins was number 2. Had Rollins.
All right, I got to interrupt you. We're back to action here.
Here we go.
Quickly here, folks. Midwest region, Lindenwood is the 4 seed, and they will be taking on Drury, the 5 seed in the Midwest region, number 1 there. Lindenwood and Drury, the 4 versus 5 there in the Midwest region. And they went Southern Indiana. You're surprised. We found out before the show. They're the 1 seed. They will be hosting at 43-10 in the Midwest region there. So Southern Indiana will be the 1 seed in the Midwest. We kind of knew that. Lindenwood will be there. Drury will be there in the 4-5 matchup. And then Southern Indiana will take on Saginaw Valley at the 8 seed, 34-18.
Saginaw Valley had to win their way in, did so winning the GLVC championship. The question is going to be, Eric, when we get to the Midwest 2 regional, 1, who's going to host, and 2, who gets in, Findlay or Northwood?
We have one of the answers. UIndy will be the 2 seed and host in the Midwest region number 2 there. They will be the 2 seed. Surprised?
I'm not really surprised. Essentially, whatever they move a team up, they drop everybody down a spot. So UIndy was number 1. You can't really punish them there.
They will be taking on Findlay. Findlay gets in as the 7 seed.
Well, Findlay did what they had to do. They had to win a couple of games to kind of solidify their positioning, especially with Saginaw Valley State losing. So likely it was going to mean, if everything holds serve, it's likely going to be Grand Valley State taking on Ohio Dominican in that 3-6 matchup in the Midwest 2 regional.
Grand Valley State is the 3 seed at 40-6. They get in the Midwest region there. 3 seed. You believe it's who's going to be the 6 seed here?
Ohio Dominican will be the 6 seed.
As they are milking this to try to unveil it is Ohio Dominican at 35-17 is the 6 seed.
Yeah, Ohio Dominican taking care of business in the Great Midwest Conference. A tough break for Northwood. Came in as the 8 seed. They had to win a game. They get bounced out in the opening round of the tournament versus Davenport, and then Saginaw Valley State winning the GLVC. Saginaw Valley State in, Northwood out.
The East region now they move into. Delphi is the 1 seed, which we kind of knew, but they're the 1 seed in this region. They will be hosting here in the East region. 41-11 on the year for Delphi in the East region.
They might be my sleeper team to make it to. They might to win it all. I like their depth in terms of pitching. Have some good bats up and down the lineup.
They will start off against Pace, who is the 8 seed, 27-19. Then Caldwell, the 4 seed in this region, 37-15 on the year. Caldwell, the 4 seed in the East region. They'll take on St. Anselm at 28-15, the 5 seed.
St. Anselm was a team that was battling to be one of those top seeds last year and make it to Denver. Had a little bit of an off season this year, but they still have a core of their team that made it to the World Series a couple of years ago. So that's going to be a very fascinating East 1 regional with Delphi as a big favorite.
So those are your 1-8, 4-5s in the East region number 1. And now we go to the East region number 2 as we're clearly coming to a close here. Georgian Court will be the host in this region as the 2.
Well, I talked about it earlier, Eric, before the selection started, where the CACC not playing the championship game cost Caldwell, obviously, as they dropped to a 4 seed, and Georgian Court, the beneficiary, as they would maintain their hosting rights.
So Georgian Court will be the host as the 2 seed, 38 and 13 in this the season. They are the 2 seed in the East region, number 2. And they'll take on Bridgeport, who's the 7 at 36 and 14 to open this tournament. Deal 2 versus 7.
Well, going into the weekend, you kind of figured that if it wasn't St. Thomas Aquinas coming out of the East Coast Conference to make it in, you kind of think things will hold serve, and so far that seems to be the case.
So it's a 2 versus 7 there in the East region, number 2. And then the 3 versus 6 will be unveiled here momentarily out of the East region, number 2.
It's likely going to be Wilmington. It's likely going to be with Caldwell dropping to the 4. It's going to be Wilmington, Delaware versus Franklin Pierce. That's likely going to be the 3-6 match.
And you're correct. It is Wilmington at 34 and 18 against Franklin Pierce as the 60. You're on fire with this. Now they move to the Central region, number 1, where Minnesota State, Victor, is the 4 seed at 46 and 12.
Woo! Roger State ain't happy with that. They're like, hey, we did all this work to get the 1 seed. Now we got Minnesota State.
Potentially.
Double
elimination tournament, remember, in all these regions. Minnesota State 46 and 12 is the 4 seed in the Central region, number 1. And they will be taking on the number 5 seed here, as they will be unveiling this pretty quickly, momentarily. Washburn at 45 and 13.
Well, Washburn, we talked about, won the MIAA regular season championship, played for the tournament final before losing to Rogers State. If Washburn had won, that could potentially have been flipped with Washburn being the 4. But that's going to be a great opening. That could be a sneaky good opening round game, possibly one of the best that we have in a D2 tournament this year.
Rogers State, obviously the top seed here.
Well, Rogers State, they were a team that really made an ascent this past season, battling with Centra Oklahoma and Washburn in the MIAA. Winning the conference championship, beating Washburn in the process, getting rewarded as the number 1 seed in the region.
And they'll take on Winona State, who's the 8th seed at 38 and 15. So that is your Central Region 1 as they move to Central Region number 2. Centra Oklahoma, 45 and 10. They get to host as the 2 seed.
Well, the Bronchos had a chance to get themselves as the 1 seed. They lost the opening round game in the MIAA, but got eliminated in the semifinals. But an opportunity for the Bronchos to get some redemption.
Oh, my goodness. They will open up against Southern Arkansas as the 7th seed, 37 and 16. Are you kidding me?
Well, that statement I said about the best opening round game between Minnesota State and Washburn, I'd like to retract that statement and apply it to this game.
Augustana is the 3 seed, and they're going to play Arkansas Tech in the 3 versus 6. Augustana against Arkansas Tech. Yo, this Central region stacked.
That is the regional of death, because Central Oklahoma, top 5 teams. Southern Arkansas, a team that's gone to Denver. Augustana won the national championship a couple of years ago, and Arkansas Tech won the GAC.
Woo! Atlantic region, Kutztown is the 1 seed there, 37 and 13 in the Atlantic region 1 seed. They will be hosting that part of the region at the 1 seed there as people still recover from that Central region. I guarantee you they're up and running now over there. Woo. Fairmont State is the 8th seed, and they'll take on Kutztown in the 1 versus 8. Then Mercyhurst is the 4 seed in the Atlantic region, number 1 there. Mercyhurst is the 4 seed. I believe it's the last regional, Victor. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Regional. They will be taking on West Virginia Wesleyan, 4 versus 5 there. And then finally, the Atlantic region number 2, Bloomsburg, is the 3 seed at 28 and 18. They are the 3 seed in this region. They will be taking on the 6 seed, Shippensburg.
Shippensburg took a big drop. Didn't fare well in the PSAC, so Shippensburg falls from the 3 to the 6.
So Shippensburg is the 6th seed. However, according to this, Shippensburg is the host of this region as a 6th seed.
Wow.
There's
I
your
need
first.
to know.
There's,
We need to know who the 2 and 7 seeds are first.
Seton Hill is the 2 seed, and they only take it on the 7 seed, Seattlin, as the 7 seed. But it is confirmed. The 6 seed is the host in this part of the region.
Wow. So it sounds to me that Seton Hill didn't have the facilities or didn't put in a bid to host. So
wow,
that completely changes the landscape of the Atlantic 2 region.
Wow, what a curveball to finish this. A 6 seed is hosting, Victor. What? Wow. That is. How is it that a 2 seed or a 3 seed ain't hosting here? That's a boy. No. There's a lot of questions on that last region.
Wow. Well, I figured Claflin. Well, first I got the seeding wrong in the Atlantic. I thought Claflin would be the 8 and Fairmont State would be the 7. I obviously got that wrong. I thought Shippensburg was going to remain the 3. They dropped the 6, and that's not even the starter. The fact that they're the 6 and that they're hosting is someone try and reach out to us into the Circle SB because we need to get clarification on. Did somebody not put a bid? Did they not have the facilities?
Clearly. Well, you said you thought they could be a 3 seed. Obviously, they put in a hosting thinking they could be a 2 or a 3 seed. They fell off to a 6 seed. But wow, do you ever remember a 6 seed hosting?
I remember a 3 seed. I remember a 3 seed hosting. I remember a 4 seed hosting early on, but never a 6. Never a 6. Never a 6.
That is a stunner. What a way to finish the selection show. You kept wondering it was going to very
it was
chalky,
going a little too quiet, and then we went to the Central and the Atlantic, and that's where all the fireworks were.
Wow. I can't get over that. A 6 seed hosting.
Stunning.
And then that Central region. Wow.
Their Central 2 region, it's wow. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable.
The brackets are out there interactive. You can look at it for yourself. I know I am doing that because I had to double check that. I'm like, is this correct? And I had you talking there because I'm like, this just can't be accurate. But no, they are.
It is. Wow. It's accurate.
I am speechless over that.
It's never dull. We know this. When Division 2, it's never dull.
How do you not put what? How does that happen? Seriously, now you got your work cut out for you. Now you thought you were gonna coast on this, Victor. You're like, oh, this is pretty simple, pretty easy.
Look, I knew it was going to be difficult as it is, but then the Central and the Atlantic decided to pop along, and I'm like, oh, great. Great. So, yeah. Okay. By the way, we are working to get.
I think everybody's still shocked over the last region there. I think we're all in shock. That is a stunner.
Unbelievable. I am completely in. I don't know, in awe, in amazement, befuddlement, all of it, just all of it. A 6 seed, a 6 seed is hosting. A 6 seed is hosting.
Clearly, the 2 seed, the 3 seed didn't even put a bid in, or don't have the facilities, right?
Either they didn't put in a bid or didn't have the facilities to do so, or a combination of both, or a combination of both is likely. Now, we do want to stress, and we'll keep mentioning this as throughout the tournament. Once we find out the top 8, once we find out the 8 teams that advance to Denver, they will reseed.
Oh boy, yeah, that won't be controversial at all.
Oh yeah. I'm not looking. Part of me is looking forward to that exercise. Part of me is not looking forward to that exercise. But
I can't believe. All right,
we will cross that. We will cross that bridge when we get to it. We will.
That is. Yeah. No. Pete, my phone's been blowing up over the 6 seed hosting.
I'm not surprised.
People want to explain for explanations, Victor. I think we've done the best we can.
The general rule that now being involved in the hosting protocol, if you're a higher seeded team, you should be able to put in a bid to host. In the off chance that a team that is seeded higher doesn't have the capabilities or the facilities to host. So this is likely the case in that East 2 region.
What are the odds that a 2 and a 3 can't work?
I figured Bloomsburg could potentially host as a 3 seed. That's not too far deviated from the 2. But the fact you got the 6 seed hosting,
right?
Insane. I mean,
why don't you go ahead and quickly while we wait? We're hoping to have a guest on here in a couple of minutes. Obviously, coaches are with their teams right now, watching this show, watching the selection show, reacting, etc. So we're hoping to have this guest on in a couple of minutes. But in the meantime, kind of recap what we just obviously the brackets which are out now for the public to see. Kind of your overall thoughts here.
Yeah, so we're gonna go to so we're going out to NCAA.com so you can see the full field of 64 and to kind of get you understanding of what the heck we just saw, to be perfectly honest with you, because I still have questions. I'm still rattled about the fact that we got a 6 seed hosting in the South.
And it was going so well, right? And be honest, it was kind of vanilla, right? Like it was
no real craziness. We kind of the Central 2 region with Central Oklahoma, Southern Arkansas, Augustana, Arkansas Tech. That's gonna be fun. And then the curveball of all curveballs with Shippensburg as the 6 seed.
Do you think that was done on purpose? The order, how they announced it. Do you think that was like, hey, let's save that surprise for the? I mean, that's kind of wild. That's a hell of a finish.
Well, Eric, if you think about it, the order of the regionals and the brackets mirrored the order how they announced the 1 seeds. So San Marcos was announced first, so the West region was announced first. Then you had the Southeast regional, then you announced the Southeast regional, going all the way down to the Atlantic regional, which was the final regional that was announced. I got nothing for you, brother. I got nothing.
I mean, clearly everybody's speechless. We're trying to put up the graphic, and that's not working right now. The bracket.
There we go. So on the left, that is the Atlantic regional with Kutztown, Seton Hill. And again, Shippensburg is the one that I'll be hosting. On the right side, you see the South Central regional with Texas Tyler and Texas A&M Commerce winning the Lone Star Conference tournament. As a result, they're the 2 seed. On the right, you see the South regional with Auburn, Montgomery, and Tampa as the 1-2 seeds. And you see the very interesting matchups there. And you have on the left side, you see the Central Regional with Rogers State. And then you got the Regional of Death with Central Oklahoma, Augustana, Arkansas Tech, Southern Arkansas. On the left, you see the East, Delphi as the 1, Georgian Court as the 2. And on the right, you see the Southeast with Anderson, King, Lincoln Memorial, and Francis Marion. And then Lenore Ryan as the 2 seed there. And then finally, you have the Midwest with Southern Indiana, the surprise number 1 seed there with U of Indy, number 2. And then on the right side, the West Regional with San Marcos as the 1, Concordia Irvine as the 2, Tico State as the 3. So that is the look of the regionals. Again, all will be available on NCAA.com.
Early thoughts there?
That's a lot. That Central 2 regional is going to be brutal.
Oh,
was that you?
No, that was you. Or it might have been I don't know. My phone is busy blowing up right now. People are in shock. They don't understand. They're trying to figure out how is it that a 6 seed is hosting? Has it ever happened before? And folks, we just have as many questions as you have, quite frankly. I mean, we've tried to answer this the best we can. but I gotta be honest, I'm shocked. You're shocked. Where does this rank in the shock value?
You're stunned.
In all the years you've covered Division 2 here, where's this rank?
I will say it is probably up there with 2013. Honestly, it's up there with 2013. It's fascinating, brother. It's very, very fascinating to see how this whole situation. Again, the tournament will start on Thursday. Go to ncaa.com to have links available. Make sure you go to the host sites for the regional seeds. They'll certainly have tournament centrals up and available. Wow. Wow. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, he says, "What?" As people are asking, what would be the equivalent of this in Division 1? And I don't even. That's a heck of a question. I don't even know how to answer that. I don't think I've ever seen this before in any region, division.
Because usually, Eric, in Division 1 softball, if the 1 seed cannot host, usually the 2 seed is designated as host. We saw that recently last year. Duke was the 1 seed, but Georgia hosted as the 2.
Right.
I'll have a prime example of that. If you remember in the Knoxville Regional, that will be the equivalent of, I believe, was James Madison the 3 in the Knoxville Regional last year, or was that Liberty?
Yes, no, that was correct. You're correct. JMU was the 3. Yeah.
So the equivalent of that would be James Madison as the 3 seed hosting the Knoxville Regional, in spite Tennessee and Liberty being the higher seeded teams. That's the best equivalent I can give y'all. Honestly,
how much does that change your thinking in that region?
It will change it. I will freely admit it will change it. How much it will change it, you're gonna have to find out tomorrow on D2 Tuesday when I make my predictions, because there's so much to talk about. Oh my goodness.
You're gonna have to work the phones here to get some answers. People want answers.
I'm gonna have to, man, because this is absolutely craziness. Now, is that your fault? Now, is that you or is that me?
That's you. It's all you, brother.
Of course, it's me. Be kind, people.
We're awaiting our
it's so
guest,
crazy. By the way, while we are awaiting our guest, I think while we have some downtime, can we announce the guest that we're going to be having on our Thursday episode? Because
please do. Yes.
The two, Eric, are kind of intertwined with one another. So on Thursday's episode, I mentioned we're going to be talking to a conference championship winning head coach. We're going to talk to the head coach of the Sunshine State Conference champion Nova Southeastern Sharks. Julie Lemaire will be on the podcast on Thursday to talk about the Sharks and get her thoughts as the Sharks will begin their quest in their first NCAA tournament since 2010, as Nova Southeastern will be battling in the South Regional versus Alabama Huntsville in the 4-5, taking place at Auburn Montgomery. But so Julie Lemaire, head coach of Nova Southeastern, will be our guest on our show.
Well, let's keep it on that region. Give me your thoughts on that part of the region there in the South.
Well, Auburn Montgomery, I feel, is going to be the team to beat. Alabama Huntsville, they still have a lot of momentum from making that run to the Gulf South Tournament Championship before falling to AUM. Nova Southeastern is so fascinating to me because they're a team that a lot of people didn't think Nova Southeastern would be, but you kind of saw it building with them going a few years ago with Coach Lemaire. It's Auburn Montgomery's regional to win. Would it surprise me if Huntsville got out of the regional? No. Would it surprise me if Nova Southeastern got out of the regional? No. Because all three of them are, you can make the argument, those three are playing their best softball at the right time. There's no question about it. They're playing their best softball at the right time, honestly.
And then the other side of that part of that region.
Yep, Tampa is the 2 seed that's hosting. Again, the fact that Valdosta State got eliminated early in the Gulf South benefited the Spartans. That and them winning a share of the conference title. Embry-Riddle Embry-Riddle could win this regional.
Well, let me ask you about that. You've got them. You got Embry-Riddle. You got Rollins, who just played there as the 6.
A lot of familiarity because all 4 of these schools played each other early in the season. Obviously, Rollins and Tampa played this past weekend. But they've all 4 played each other. They all are very familiar with one another. So which team can adjust to those adjustments the quickest and the best, I think, will be the teams that could advance. And it's all, and I always say this, Eric, and you know this more, and you can relate to this just like I can. The importance of winning your first game and avoiding having to be in that loser's bracket and expending much more energy, it's going to be critical for all of these teams. Winning that opening round game, getting into that 1-0 matchup, as opposed to having to be in a loser's bracket, having to win twice on Friday, and then having to turn around, having to win twice on Saturday to advance to Supers. I've seen it done up close and in person. I mentioned Alabama Huntsville did it in 2014 after losing to Tuskegee. Can it be done? Yes. But it's going to take a lot of luck for you to battle out of that loser's bracket if you lose that opening game.
Do you like the fact there's so much familiarity in that, or in all these regions? I know you've been discussing throughout the year about, will this tournament get expanded to being a national tournament, not be so regionalized? Obviously, there's financial implications with all that in Division II. That's been a big conversation. Hot topic, obviously, over the last few weeks over the expanding of the world of the series in Denver, an extra day or two. Hot debates on that. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, honestly, if you look at the South Central Regional, for example, Texas Tyler, they're a national championship caliber team. Texas A&M Commerce at the winning of the tournament, they're a national championship caliber team. Texas A&M Kingsville, they're the number 2 ranked team in the nation. They're a national championship contender. Lubbock Christian, Angelo State, who has been a who's who on their schedule. Only one of these teams will be able to advance to Denver. That's the reason why you need a national tournament. Because again, if those of you joining us late, Texas Tyler's number 1 in the NFCA poll. Texas A&M Commerce is number 2. You could have the number 1, number 2 ranked teams play not for the national championship, not to advance in the national championship, to advance to the super regionals. That is not right. The 2 best teams in college softball shouldn't be playing to advance to the D2 World Series. They should be playing to win the championship. That's why you need to have this a national tournament. Because you want to have the best take on the best, let the best team in the nation win, not the best team from a region. That's just hey, what do I know?
All right, we're hoping to have a guest here on shortly. We're going to wrap up this show in about the next 5-10 minutes deal here. But I can tell you, Victor, if from what I'm getting, if this is any, by the way, our guest is internet is jacked up, is the word I've been telling about. There's a lot of people that have described jacked up over a 6-seed hosting. This is going to be the hot topic. They're going to be you're going to have to address, like it or not, tomorrow on your D2 Tuesday.
Oh yeah, we'll be addressing that on D2 Tuesday. We'll be talking about the selections. We'll talk about the regionals. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens there. But it's going to be. This is one of those tournaments, Eric, where you can see all 8 number 1 seeds advance. This could be a tournament where you don't see a number 1 seed advance. That's how deep this tournament is this year. And we've seen that in Division II over the last 4 or 5 years, where the multitude of teams that can compete for national championships is so vast, and it's the number is growing each and every year. But it's fascinating that we've only had 2 teams be ranked number 1 all year: Texas Tyler and Concordia. They're the only 2 teams that have been ranked number 1 all year in Division II. And I think Texas Tyler is going to be the overwhelming favorite, but they got Lubbock Christian, they got Angelo State, and we mentioned their path to a potential matchup with number 2 Texas A&M Kingsville or Texas A&M Commerce, who they just lost to in the Lone Star Conference Final.
All right, so Victor, I have a message here. Our guest can't join us because, well, the internet ain't working. Boy, you hate when that happens. However, that guest would like to talk to you, perhaps, maybe, and offer a recording later today, which I am okay with. Are you okay with recording this guest for the podcast?
I will defer to you for the recording of the guest, and we will announce that guest once we have that done.
We'll sort that out off the air.
Yes.
But we'll figure out that game plan. But give me your final thoughts here as we wrap up this show.
Wow. Fascinating show. It's a lot of surprises on the back end, especially with the East. Now we know who's in. Let the mayhem commence in Division 2.
Amen to that. All right. Wow. What a show. Folks, hope you enjoyed it. Check out the archives here. Keep it here on In the Circle. We'll do a lot of live shows later in the week. Division 1 aspect of it, too. A preview show for the Division 1 show on Sunday night, 7 Eastern. And, Victor's going to do this live with Justin. 7 Eastern, 6:30 start time on Sunday. I will be on location reporting on UCF from UCF and that story development there Selection Sunday. Victor, this has been wild. Honestly, I thought that we were going to get through with a pretty vanilla, chalky brackets, and then not quite.
Yeah.
Not until the end. That's a couple of curveballs there. Wow. I can't believe it. Hopefully, Victor have some answers for us by the Tuesday D2. What time, D2?
D2 Tuesday, 2 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen, 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. for those of you out on the West Coast.
Check out the podcast is out wherever you can listen to your favorite the podcast. It's out right now. We kind of get you set for the conference tournament weeks and the final week of Division 1 before Selection Sunday. Bubble talk, host seedings. Gray Robertson previews the SEC tournament in Gainesville with Victor. Me and Victor will be in Gainesville on Saturday from there as well. But, folks, we're going to wrap it up here. We hope you've enjoyed this show. Thanks for tuning in. And make sure you leave give us a thumbs up, leave us some reviews, subscribe, notifications. You're going to need that a lot this week in particular and throughout the postseason. So I'm Eric Lopez saying thank you for tuning in. For Victor, I'm Eric. Good morning. That's been the Division 2 Selection Show special live show.
Good morning, Canada. Free Brittany Grinder.